Hey there everybody, good afternoon. It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am here with another video. If you read the title, you will notice that things are looking a little bit different. First of all, it's the longest title ever because I have a lot to cover today. And second, you will notice that it is labeled Cross Stitch number 39 as opposed to Jessie Marie Does Stuff podcast episode such and such. And so that's the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I have decided that the podcast is going away. A couple of reasons. First of all, cross stitch is what I'm into right now. I'm not really reading, I'm not really knitting, and I just like talking about cross stitch more than anything. You know, I do my reading updates, I have a blog for that, and I also do my updates on Goodreads. My knitting is updated on Ravelry, and I think that most, if not everybody that watches this channel is watching for the cross stitch. And so I felt like I was almost wasting your time by talking about these things that maybe you don't care as much about. Or if you cared about them, maybe you don't need to hear about them at length. Maybe you want to check those things out on your own. And so I encourage you to do so. You know, find me on Ravelry or Goodreads, Instagram, etc. You know, I talk about these things. I just don't think that they are important for my YouTube channel. And then there was another, the other thing is that I haven't talked to you about my knitting in a long time. I think the last time I even podcasted about knitting was at the end of May, and it's the end of July, you know. And part of that was health reasons and vacations and all of the reasons that I talked to you about the last time I recorded. And part of it was it takes a lot to get everything organized to talk about my knitting. And I didn't really feel like taking all of that time to do so. Like, it would reach a point where I could podcast, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to go through all that effort. So I just made the executive decision to just, let's get rid of all of that shenanigans. Let's remove the pressure from myself. I'm just going to record cross-stitch WIP updates and hauls and tags. Oh my goodness, am I so far behind on the tags. Today, I'm going to tackle 2 of them, and I think that there are 6 more that I haven't. So that's crazy. And the reason that I haven't done the tags is because it wasn't a part of my podcast. But I love the tags. Like, I love watching the tag videos, and I love watching you guys answer these questions and ask these questions. You know, a lot of these questions are repeated across the tags, and I still like hearing it. Like, I still like knowing your favorite fabric, and I still like hearing about your life outside of cross stitch. So I wanted to get back into doing the tags, and by eliminating this podcast where I feel like I have to talk about these other things, instead I can do the tags. So that's what's going to happen. And I don't think that anybody's going to be really that upset about it. I don't think that anybody's going to be heartbroken about it. If you are, let me know, and I will go back to it. You know, this channel ultimately is for you guys, and so I will do that. But I think that people want to see more about cross stitch and less about the other stuff. I think the other stuff was just that. It was just other stuff. So moving forward. So I picked up the count. I was keeping count of the number of videos that I have done for cross stitch, and I can't believe that I've talked about cross stitch 39 times now. That's pretty cool. And by 39 times I mean on YouTube, because I've mentioned this before. If it wasn't for FlossTube, I would not be on YouTube. Like, it's just not, it's not who I am. I'm not one of those people that likes to put myself, basically, like, lay myself bare for the internet and how cruel the internet can be sometimes. So anyway, thank you. Segueing on with the thank yous, I am going to do a giveaway. I mentioned in my last video that I didn't believe in giveaways for reaching this certain number of subscriber count, and that's still true. That is still very true. I don't think that you have to, I'm going to let that go. I am going to do a giveaway. My 2 years of recording on YouTube is coming up here on August 2nd. My first video went up on August 2nd of 2013. And so I'm going to do a giveaway then, on top of the fact that I have crested 1,000 subscribers, which is very cool. And I just want to say thank you, I guess, in the traditional way. I know that that's how we say thank you. So I'm joining you the ranks of the giveaways. And I recently entered a giveaway myself, and I haven't. I've entered 3 maybe in the course of my FlossTube life. And I feel guilty about entering giveaways and not hosting my own. So that's pretty much where we're at. So be on the lookout for that. Details and whatnot are forthcoming. So yeah. All right. Next thing of note, FlossTuber Shoutout. This has been met with a lot of really, really good vibes. I'm really glad that you guys took to this, and I know that Mon.Stitches has started her own FlossTuber Shoutout. I know that yesterday Katie said that she might do the same thing. I think that's great. I think it's cool that we're gonna infuse some positivity into our community. We're gonna push out the bad, and it's gonna be great. So originally, I had planned on shouting out the crafty curator, Letitia, but Mon.Stitches already did, and so to sort of spread the love, I have decided to pick somebody else. And the somebody else that I'm picking today, I am going to shout out Calico. Calico is a stitcher out in Colorado, and she's phenomenal. Like, she's a joy to watch. I get really happy when I see some of her videos. She has inspired one of my new starts and potentially a second here very soon. I am not somebody who loves birds. Like, I'm not a bird watcher, but Calico's passion for bird watching and for taking pictures of birds, beautiful pictures, is infectious. Like, I can't help it. And now I'm noticing the birds that live here in Virginia, and I have the strongest desire to stitch something with a bird. Like, and 6 months ago, no, I couldn't, it wasn't my thing. But now it is, and so I think that that is really very cool. She's inspired me already. And so I am, of course, going to link her channel in the down bar, so be sure to check her out if you haven't already. She's a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's that. So, okay, we've done the public service announcement 1 and 2, because the giveaway counts as a second. FlossTuber Shoutout. So for the rest of this, I have my WIP update. I have a haul and 2 tags. The tags I'm going to tackle today are the stash enhancement tag from Katie at the Stash Queen, as well as Garrett's coffee stitcher tag. So let's start with the WIP, because I have just one, and but that's going to change very, very soon. So I'm going to put up a picture here so you can see where I was last time. This is, of course, my Mini Pearl by Rachel Anderson, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And the last time you saw this, I was, I want to say halfway through page 9. So here is where I am now. I am partially through page 12. Do you know what page 12 is, guys? The last page of Mini Pearl. I have just this little chunk here left to do. Her dress is 99.9% complete. There's just this tiny little smattering of stitches right in there that I have left to put in there. But the pink dress is done. So here she is. I can't show you all of her because basically I had to stuff some of the stitching under here, but you get the gist. You get the gist. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I finished page 11 yesterday, and I posted on Instagram, and I was like doing a happy dance. Just reaching the final page made me so excited. I'm not even done with it yet, and I'm like giddy. I'm so excited to be working on this. I'm going to finish her this weekend, Monday at the very latest. It depends on my work schedule, which is kind of up in the air right now. But she's almost done. She's so almost done, it's just not even funny. Ooh. I'm doing something really scary with the end of this. I am not gridding. I don't want to waste time gridding. I just want to stitch because I just want her to be done. So I'm not gridding. This is old gridding from before, and I'm just going with it. So far, I have made only 2 mistakes. I'm not going to show them to you because I'm leaving them in, and they don't make a difference, and you will never know. But there are 2 mistakes nonetheless, at least in this bottom 3 pages. There's more scattered all the way throughout, but, you know, recently, anyway. These pages go by so fast, but page 11 went wicked fast. I mean, crazy, stupid fast. I stitched that entire 11th page in 3.5 days. Yeah. I had a couple of really good, speedy days where I managed 2 or 3 columns in a day. So, you know, that goes by really fast. Not to mention, page 11 was really fast to begin with because it's just basically long stretches of the same color. So, not a whole lot of confetti and color sense. So, yeah. So that's Mini Pearl by Rachel Anderson, and the next time that you see her, she will be all the way done. Barring any, you know, disaster, heaven forbid, but she's done. She's basically done. And trying to work out what we're going to do about framing, and I say we because Danny is so invested in the finished piece here. There is one thing. So my fabric ends there. You see that? You see that terrible, terrible sewing? So I went to Walmart to buy just a cheap fat quarter of fabric so that I could hand sew, because I don't have a sewing machine, and nor would I know even the first thing about how to use it. So that I could hand sew the bottom of this fabric to the orange fabric there, so that I would have something to put in my Q-snaps, because as you can see, it won't reach. And I can get the fabric down there to reach, but it's either unstable or I can't reach these bottom stitches. So I had to do something. It is a terrible, terrible sewing job. I am not proud in any sense of the word. I tried to put it on my Millennium frame, and it's awful. It's so bad. That's one of the things that I really like about having this big Q-snap is because it pulls all the way around, I'm able to use it. I'm able to use a frame. I was freaking out as I was doing this sewing because I thought for sure I just wasn't sure what to do. I was freaking out. But I managed to get it done, and it's workable. And it's workable for just a few more days. And then I will let the framers figure out what to do with it because, yeah, scary. So I've said it before, but if you are going to tackle a large design, measure 4 or 5 times, cut once. Don't cut. That's what I should have done. I shouldn't have cut this fabric. But nonetheless, there we go. So that is my mini pearl, and I'll show you her when she's done next week. Oh my gosh. I've been working on her for so long that it's hard to imagine actually being done. It doesn't really compute. Okay. So as of next week, I'm going to start a rotation up again, and the details of that are sort of wobbly at this point. It just kind of depends on when I finish her and how I feel about other stitches, because I've been marathoning this project for so long that I don't really feel like stitching heaven and earth right now. I feel like doing other things. So I have a feeling that my rotation is going to look very different. But we'll see what it is. Okay. So let's get on to my stitchy haul. I have a wide array of things, just very random to show you. The first thing is, it makes me so happy. Gives me great joy. And I put a project on because I wanted you to see just how wide they really are. So for my birthday this year, I bought myself a little something. And by a little something, I mean a big something. I bought myself some 30-inch Millennium Bars. And I ordered them at the end of March, and they arrived, I want to say like July 15th or something like that. It was pretty recent. So, I put on a project that until this point I had to stitch on my Q-snaps because it was too wide. I can't even get it all in frame. So these are my new Millennium Bars, and I just got the bars. These are my still the same side stretchers because I figure I'm not really going to be stitching with 2 projects at once, and so I can flip-flop the side stretchers if I need to. I am losing the light, guys, so I'm sorry if things get a little wobbly. It looks like we're getting some cloud cover. So anyway, so these are my 30-inch Millennium Bars, and the website has been updated. The Needle Needs website has been updated to say that they endeavor to ship out within 8 to 12 weeks. And I got my notification that they had been shipped. Well, first I got a notification that they were being processed, i.e. they finally read my invoice and started building, roughly 3 days before that 12 weeks ended. And then I got notice for shipping about 4 days later. So it took them 4 days to put them together. But, you know, I mean, I know they're a small-time company and they're extremely popular. I get it. It takes time. It was totally worth it. It's what I wanted. And so, you know, it is what it is. So things that have changed with Millennium is since my first frame, anyway, I didn't get an additional card. My first frame came with this card, and it's like a very thick, it's not cardstock, it's like a piece of cardboard, but it basically helps you guide the fabric into the bars. Oh, I'm not showing you the back of that because it's a mess. So it helps you guide the fabric into this space. And these bars did not come with that. But I love it nonetheless. And now I can use my Millennium on her, which will be really important when I pick her back up again because of all of that skin that I have to do. So there's that. And I did give her a test drive on my Lowry, and it works just fine. So good to go there. Okay, let's see. Questions for the tags. I'll move over there. Okay, this one, several stitchers have talked about how our tastes sort of evolve over the years, and this is pure evidence of that, because when I first started stitching, I was all about the modern fantasy. I was about the kawaii designs. I didn't very much care for the kitschy, the country designs, samplers, reproductions. I didn't really care for those sort of designs. So when I ordered this, I was sort of like taken aback, like, wait a second, did I really just order that? Because it's so not what I was into, but I am so into this. There are 12 designs in this book, and I want to stitch every single one of them. Every single one. And the book that I have here is Paula Vaughn's Quilts for All Seasons. And so there is basically a quilt design that goes with each month of the year. And the reason that I was turned on to this book was the Cross Stitch and Discuss challenge. We are doing a challenge called The One, where basically you work on one project from, I think it was the 12th of July until the end of July. And so, you know, obviously I've been working on Mini Pearl. Somebody else is working on this. Is that for The One, or is that for Freeze into a Puddle? I think it's The One. It's one of the challenges on Cross Stitch and Discuss. Anyway, somebody is stitching this. And I fell like head over heels in love. This is obviously the one for July. And it's just a patriotic quilt on a porch swing. Beautiful. Beautiful. I am so obsessed. I want to start this yesterday. But because I'm doing the one challenge, I can't. I have to focus on my one project. But yeah, I'm in love. And then, of course, I'm flipping through and my eye goes to the fall. And so we have here October. Apple picking and autumnal colors starting to make their appearance. And then we have November. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. Pumpkins, reds and golds and oranges and maroons. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to have this in my house. It's gorgeous. I've already picked out a wall for it. Like, I am so excited to have this. I might be starting this the day that I finish Mini Pearl. I mean, seriously. I've contemplated starting kitting it up, but I know that if I do, I'm just going to start on it. I can't do that yet. Oh, love it. Love it. And so, these are 4 of the designs. And then another 4. Just to give you an idea. And I ordered this off of eBay because I couldn't find it anywhere else. So I found it on eBay. And I have to put it away. I have to hide it from myself because I just want it. I just want them. Oh, they're beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's that. Okay. The next thing I have, I ordered a couple of needle minders from Gina's Unique Boutique and Gina's Unique Needle Minders on Facebook. Her Unique Boutique is the name of her Etsy store. I have ordered needle minders from her before, and I've never shown them to you. So I organized them all. First of all, these are my 2 new ones. And so you see I have this gorgeous elephant with this gigantic pearlescent dome shape that it's holding in his trunk. And so this one is hanging out on pearl. Go figure. And then also this gorgeous white dragon, which I think is just so, so pretty. And then over here, I have the rest of my minders, except for one. I have one very small copper dragon, but his magnet fell off, and so he is currently drying with some E6000. But these are my other needle minders. So I've got this one here. This one is constantly on my Frosty Knot Garden because it kind of looks like winter. And then this is a gothic one with like a very pretty purple jewel in there. And then this is a chocolate bunny, purple, and a spider, purple. FYI, I don't like spiders. I do not like spiders. If I see a spider, there is often screaming involved. But I like this spider because it's beautiful. He even has red eyes. Like he's just very cool. And then I have this pretty little fish here. And a seahorse. And this one here kind of looks like Playboy Bunny, not gonna lie. Kind of why I got it. And this one, I love him. He's super pretty. He's interesting because he's actually concave. See that? And then a St. Patrick's Day owl because I got him before I got him because I needed an owl. I like to pair my needle minders just like everybody else with their projects. I needed an owl for my Quick Stitch Autumn Owl, yeah. And so when this one became available, I was like, ooh, I need an owl. So I ordered that. And then this one became available, and I was like, I have to have that. So those are all of my needle minders. Love them. This one is my new favorite, though. I'm obsessed. Love it. So that's that. Okay. The next and final thing that I have for my haul that I can remember, because I feel like there's something that I got that I am forgetting. Forgot that I'm forgetting. Whatever. This is the most beautiful piece of fabric I have ever owned in my whole life. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I am in love. I am so in love. This is a huge piece of 28 count cashel, right? I think it's cashel. Belfast is cashel. 28 is cashel. And it's purpley, but in real life it's got like maroon hints, and some of the lighter bits look a little almost orange. This is Autumn Splendor hand-dyed fabrics from Stephanie. It's a huge 26 by 36 inch piece, and it has a plan. I ordered this specifically for a project, and that project is the, you'll remember in my last video, I purchased the owl silhouette from Nikki's Creations. Charting Creations, who is Nikki from, you know what I mean. I am doing that on this. Not only that, but I'm going to acquire an orange variegated silk. I think silk, or I'm contemplating pumpkin from Weeks Dye Works because I really like that color. And so I'm going to stitch my orange owl on my maroon fabric. I'm surprising nobody with this. Those are the, if for whatever reason you don't know, those are the Virginia Tech school colors, and they are my two favorite colors in the whole world, next to purple, you know, whatever. And it's like an owl. It gives the sense of autumn. I love this fabric. Put some orange on it. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. And so that's what this is for. And so I'm gonna stitch it 2 over 2 on this, which is why I needed the ginormous piece, because it's basically 14 count. So yeah, that's that. And so that's it for my haul, I think. I know I'm forgetting something. Like there's something in my head going, you forgot something, but I can't remember what it was. Go figure. I need to remember all. Okay. So let's do the tags. I'm going to start with the Stash Queen Stash Enhancement tag. And I've got all my questions here. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm referring to. So question number 1. What is your favorite pattern in your stash that you haven't started yet? And what has kept you from starting it? I'm going to pull it up on my iPad here. Now, I pulled this image from the internet because my chart actually doesn't have an image, it just has the chart. So this is the Greek mandala from Shoutout. This project is going to be like the pinnacle of my chatelaine stitching career. I'll tell you that right now. I bought this when I first discovered chatelaine. I'm just obsessed with it. It's just basically what it is. I've always been somebody who really appreciates like Greek and Roman mythology. I mean, you kind of get that from my Persephone, and I really like Greek and Roman mythology. And when I saw this, I was just like, oh, that just has to be in my life. On top of the fact that it's stunning. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So why haven't I started it yet, despite the fact that it's been in my stash forever? If you log on to the European Cross Stitch website and you look for the Greek mandala, you will see that the full kit, excluding fabric, is somewhere in the range of $270. Now, if I had been smart, I wouldn't have bought anything else, and I would just be saving to buy that kit. But I'm not smart, and I get grabby hands, and I want things, and so I keep constantly having to push Greek mandala back. So that's really what's prevented me from starting it, as I just can't justify spending $250,000, especially when I'm planning my wedding, on this kit. Apparently, I was almost gifted it for Christmas, but Cindy contacted, my mom was going to get it for me for Christmas. Cindy at European Cross Stitch contacted my mom and was like, hey, there's no way that we're going to be able to get all of the materials for that together because it's a lot. She said there's no way we're going to be able to get all of the materials together in time for Christmas. So, and this was 8 weeks before Christmas, so Mom went a different route. So I almost had it, but it's okay. I'm going to buy it myself because it's a huge investment. And, so anyway, that's that. That is the pattern that I have been wanting to stitch. It's one of my favorites I have ever seen. And that's what's kept me from starting it. Okay. Your favorite non-pattern item in your stash. That's question 2. Honestly, I'm going to have to say my fabric. I recently bought a little cart from Michael's that has 6 drawers in it, and I've organized all of my fabric into it, and I can't tell you the amount of joy that I got out of organizing that. It made me so happy because not only was I getting it all organized and cleaned up, but I got to sort of reacquaint myself with these fabrics that I've had in my stash for these couple of years. I don't have a huge fabric stash, but I have a considerable amount of stuff. You might be able to hear Thor snoring. Sorry about it. I love my fabric. It's just a lot of fun to look at. It's a lot of fun to plan out what I'm going to do with these things. It's a lot of fun to try and remember what I had originally planned to do with them. I really, really like them. Secondary to my fabric stash, I would have to say that I love my bead stash. I don't know why, but that little box with all of those little cases of beads makes me so freaking happy. I just can't help it. I just really like all of the colors and getting to work with them and pulling them and like figuring out, oh, I can't wait until I reach the stage where I can use these in my projects, and I just love my beads. So, I mean, you know, they're just Millennium Hill beads, with the exception of the Delicas and Magnificas for my chatelaine. But they're just Millennium Hill beads, but they make me happy. So, yeah. Question number 3. What do you have the most of in your stash? Patterns, floss, fabric, or other? I'm going to have to say patterns, because if I'm ordering a thread, I'm almost always justifying the cost of that thread with a pattern. Like, I love to acquire patterns. I did the video of my Heaven and Earth design stash, and I think I have 20 some odd Heaven and Earth designs alone. I don't have that many fabrics, or, you know. So anyway, it's got to be the patterns. I have a lot of patterns. Question 4. Besides your LNS, that's funny, I don't have one of those, and the big box craft shops, where is your favorite place to buy stitching supplies? I like to buy stitching supplies from 123 Stitch. And I like buying from there even more than from Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, etc. Although I'm not buying from Hobby Lobby anymore. Personal reasons. Anyway, yeah, 123 Stitch is one of my favorites. If for whatever reason 123 Stitch is missing something, then there's ABC Stitch Therapy, Stitching Bits and Bobs, although I had a less than favorable experience with them about a year ago. eBay, Etsy, Amazon, I'll buy it from anywhere. But 123 Stitch is usually pretty reliable, and they ship out wicked fast. So that's that. Question 5. Name one item you have purchased that was not meant for cross-stitch use that you have repurposed for your craft. Now, the funny thing about this question is that every time I've seen this tag, I go, gosh, I can't think of anything. You know, I use pretty standard materials. I mean, yeah, I use a hair clip, and I got a watch, and I use that to hold notions in. Like, the watch came in this box, this metal box, and so I use that for holding notions, and I just couldn't really find anything. And then as I was reorganizing, I was like, oh my gosh, I have the perfect thing. This right here. This is an ice cube tray. It's for like the long, skinny ice cubes that you want to put like in a water bottle. And it has never, or I shouldn't say it has never, it hasn't seen ice cubes in 2 years. I use this for beading. So these wells are fantastic for storing beads, for holding beads. So I'll pour a generous amount of beads in each of these. I have sticker labels so I can label the tops with what bead it is, and then the bottom with the symbol, like being used in the chart. And the wells are really pretty deep. Like past my knuckle there at least. So they don't like flip-flop around. This is pretty stable on its own. Like, can't really bend it that way very easily. It's fantastic. Plus, it's kind of like a rubberized material, so like if I set it on a table or something, I don't have to worry about it like sliding really easily. It kind of gets stopped. It's fantastic. So ice cube tray equals beads. What do you know? My one issue that I have with it is that because the wells are deep and this doesn't reverse out very easily, is that if I pour in too many beads, moving them out, like if I'm done with a project, moving them out and back into my little briefcases, like I call them, is not so easy. But other than that, not a big deal. So that is my one item. Not meant for cross stitch, but nonetheless is. Yeah. Okay, question 6. Name one item in your stash that you were enabled to purchase after seeing someone else with that item. I brought 3 today because I wanted to limit things, but a large percentage of my stash is because of you guys. So thank you. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. Thank you. So the first one you've already seen today. Autumn Splendor, my fabric here. The Stash Queen is to blame for this one. So thank you for introducing me to this fabric and showing it to me. I've had hand-dyed fabrics from Stephanie before, and I love them. But this one I hadn't seen before. And images on the computer, sort of short of accurate. And so even if I had seen this, I wouldn't have appreciated for what it is. So there's that. And then Carolyn Mazzio is to blame for these two. So thank you, Carolyn, because without you, I would have never known that they existed. So we have Joan Elliot cross-stitch sentiments and sayings, and Jane Netley May Hughes cross-stitch safari. So thanks, guys. So those are my 3/2 that I have been enabled. And needle minders, I had zero interest in needle minders until you guys. Obviously, the Paula Vaughn, I talked about that. That was enabled by somebody on the Cross Stitch and Discuss Challenge. Yeah, I've been easily enabled. So, hey, thanks. Okay, number 7. If someone asked you what was the one must-have pattern that they had to have in their stash, which pattern would you recommend? I'll be honest, I'm surprised that I am the first one saying this. Now, I agree with a lot of people who say recommending a pattern is kind of difficult because patterns are definitely based on taste. Some people may not be into this, but I picked the Needleworker from Little House Needleworks because if there's one thing that we can all relate to, it's that we're all needleworkers. Here's your sign. So, I mean, even if you're not interested in stitching this or displaying it in your home, we can still all relate to this pattern. And bonus, it comes with the threads. So it's like, it's not free, but it comes with the, what are they, crescent colors? Yeah, crescent colors. So order this pattern and get 6 crescent colors. Not too shabby. So, as I say, this pattern everybody should have in their stash. Of course, now a bunch of people are going to be like, I don't want that. I don't like it. Why would I spend the money on that? I know. I can't win with this question. And finally, question 8. If someone asked you what one designer they had to check out to enhance their stash, who would it be? Everything in me wanted to say Heaven and Earth Designs because they have a wide range of styles that I think would probably suit just about anybody. But people, I mean, this one goes back to taste as well because not everybody likes those full coverage designs. Plus, I thought that was kind of obvious. Like, I think a lot of people are going to say Heaven and Earth Designs because they have such a huge range of patterns. So, I decided not to say that. And then I was going to say Chatelaine because Chatelaine sort of touches all over the world. Like, she's got designs from everywhere. They're based on everywhere. But I decided not to say that because a lot of people don't want to spend that kind of money on a pattern, or they aren't interested in that style. So I am going to say that if you want to enhance your stash, you should check out Joan Elliot because she also has 1,000,001 patterns and with lots of different themes. I mean, if you look on the back of just this one book, and she's got tons of books. Let's see, we have I mean, some of these are pretty country and simple designs with lots of sayings. Go figure, sentiments and sayings. But this one also has, oh, where is it? Oh, hey, look at that. Like Wisdom of the East with Asian influence and Native American influence. So she's got a wide range of stuff too. So I would say Joan Elliot. I mean, and this doesn't even include the fairies or her ladies or anything like that. This is just what's in this book here. And I have another of her books, the Fairy Enchant. I think it's Fairy Enchantment book. Don't quote me on that. There's a book that I have. It's not the one that everybody says that you're supposed to have. I don't have that one. I'm a bad stitcher because I don't have that one apparently. So yes, if you would like to enhance your stash, Google Joan Elliot. Okay, so thank you, Katie, for the stash enhancement tag. That was a lot of fun. Pulling all of the stuff that I wanted to talk about was a lot of fun. Trying to figure out how to navigate those more difficult questions was a challenge, but nonetheless, it was a lot of fun. I like blaming everybody for my stash. That's pretty cool. Okay. So last thing on the agenda, now that we're at 46 minutes, oh my goodness, is the coffee stitcher tag. And this one is old. I think this tag came out in March or late April. So it's pretty, it's an old tag. And the reason that I haven't answered it yet is because one of the questions I wanted to let marinate a little bit. So I'll be sure to let you know about that when we get there. Okay, so question number 1. What is one designer you didn't initially have any interest in until you actually stitched one? See, it's tough because I don't acquire these patterns unless I'm interested in them. And so I had to have had initial interest in order to stitch them because I'm not going to spend time on things. Leslie Tier actually is probably a good example of this because when I stitched Vintage Poppies, I stitched that for the image and not the designer. I didn't know anything about Leslie Tier, and then once I finished that pattern, once I finished Vintage Poppies, I really liked her design aesthetic. I like her still lifes, and as well as her animals, obviously, because now I'm stitching another of her designs. So I guess that's actually a really good example that I didn't think of over the last 6 months. But I wasn't initially interested in her, and now I am. Now I want to stitch a bunch of her things, so that's that. Number 2, what is one designer that you cannot get in the groove on? This one is polarizing because I have a feeling that some people aren't going to be a fan of what I say here. The Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Now, yes, I have stitched Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and I have another of their patterns in my stash to do later. I have several of their other charts and series in my stash. I guess you could say that it's not that I can't get in the groove on them, it's that I've fallen away from them. I am less interested in them than I was in the beginning. I did the Woodland Creature Sampler in 2013, and then I just kind of, I don't know, it just, for whatever reason, they just weren't interesting to me anymore. I started the Halloween Town Mystery a year ago, and I made it maybe 6 stitches in before I was like, this just isn't me. I just didn't like the image. It just wasn't me. And I am so impressed by all of the changes that everybody makes on these patterns. I mean, truly astounding additions, subtractions, enhancements. They are unique in and of themselves. And that's not me. And I think that some of those changes are necessary. I think that they really do make the patterns better. And that's just not who I am. Like I don't make changes often. I have, but oftentimes I don't. It's just not my thing. And I think that because they lend themselves so well to changes, I'm just not interested. Like, this is gonna sound weird, but I think I like following directions. And so I almost feel like if I was to stitch Frosted Pumpkin, I would be almost forced to not stitch and follow directions. And I've also moved away from the kawaii, cutesy design aesthetic. It's just not my thing anymore. So that's probably one designer I can't get in the groove on. I'm trying to think if there are any others. I can't think of any others. That was the best example that I had. Okay. Question 3, and this is the one that I wanted to let marinate and think about. What is one chart you would love to see made, and who would you like to see design it? I have 3. 3 that I would lose my mind, go nuts for. 2 that I would lose my mind, go nuts for. 1 that I think would be really cool. Okay, are you ready for this? Number 1. I want a 1920s flapper girl designed by Mirabilia. I know that Joan Elliot has a couple of 20s girls, flappers. I'm sure that there's 20s jazz age designs out there, like by the Mystic Stitch or Heaven and Earth or Tilton Crafts. I'm sure that somebody out there has a 20s girl. But I would love a Mirabilia flapper with all of the embellishments and the colors and yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe with maybe hanging out in a speakeasy. I would love that. That would be like everybody else is going nuts over the Raven Queen. I would go nuts over the flapper. Nuts. So yeah, so that's one of them. The second one is I would like Martina from Chatelaine to design a mandala based on Virginia Tech. And I know that several of you are going to roll your eyes. Whatever, it is what it is. I think that Tech lends itself to a beautiful mandala design. I'm going to put up some pictures here so that you can see some of the elements that I think would look really cool if they were translated into one of Martina's mandalas. I featured Burris Hall and Torgerson Auditorium, War Memorial Chapel, which is where Danny and I got engaged, actually. Let's see what else. Lane Stadium, obviously, for Virginia Tech football. I put up some pictures of Virginia Tech in fall because, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing prettier than Southwest Virginia in fall. Let's see. What else did I put in there? Oh, I put a picture of the gazebo where Danny and I will be getting married. Hokie Stone, which is the limestone that covers 90% of the buildings at Virginia Tech. Beautiful. I think that Martina could render the most stunning mandala design using these elements from Virginia Tech. I think it would be just super cool. So Martina, if by chance you're watching or somebody who has Martina's ear is watching, I'd be on that. So, you know. And then the third one And this sort of just popped into my head the other day. I want to see a Wizard of Oz a la Wicked, the musical, like Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, Wicked, designed by the Coffee Stitcher. Garrett, I am putting you to the task. Because I think that some of the changes that you make to Frosted Pumpkin are just out of this world. And so I think that it's time that you put your talents to the test and to design something from scratch. Don't take something from somebody else, design something from scratch. And I am handing you Wicked because it appeals to your taste. You should do that. Just for me. Okay, so that's that. So those are the tags and all of the other stuff that I've talked about. Guys, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are the most phenomenal community. We've got a good group, and I hope that it stays this way forever. In the meantime, happy stitching, and I will see you later. Bye.